Hi, my name is Mike Ferguson from Intelligent Business Strategies. I want to talk to you about the two-day modern data architecture class that I'm teaching for technology transfer in second half of 2025 that I hope you can join me for. What is this course about? Well, first of all, over the last 5 years, we've had massive digital transformation programs, probably a little bit longer than that, in fact, and that's totally reshaped data management, presenting brand new challenges and opportunities. And we've got clearly far more data complexity around. We've got hundreds of new data sources. We've got data in multiple clouds in different kinds of data stores. We've got data on premises in multiple kinds of data stores. We've got data in software as a service applications in different underlying data stores. And we've got data streaming in from IoT devices at the edge, including things like industrial IoT devices or consumer IoT devices, or even live financial markets data streaming in on a continuous basis from the edge. We're trying to reduce data latency to bring operational and analytical worlds far more closer together to get a holistic view and a near real-time view. And there's been big changes there, even over the last few months uh, in a second half of or a second quarter, I'm sorry, of 2025. Um, we've got business units buying their own technology out there. We've got multiple siloed analytical systems, where we've got streaming analytics going on in one place, graph analytics somewhere else, classic data warehouse as well, potentially multiple data warehouses, and we've got data science with data lakes and feature stores. And now we've got generative AI on top of all of that going on. Data modeling seems to have disappeared. And now we've got discussions about, data engineering is being democratized. And should you do that with a common single vendor data fabric? Should you do it with a multi-vendor modern data stack? And what are the pros and cons to be able to do that? So this class really looks at data architecture and says, how do we modernize this to make it future proof for a data and AI driven enterprise going forward? But it's not just about analytics, it's about the operational side of this as well as the knowledge management side of it. So you need to be able to assess your existing data architecture to understand how well is it serving your business in meeting its business goals and its business priorities. We've got to be able to know that, to know where are we strong, where are you weak, and then you can address the areas where you really feel you need to do something to try and reduce complexity, make you more responsive, and be able to serve your business much better than you perhaps currently do. So we're going to look at assessing existing data architecture in detail, walk you through how to use looking at data sources and ingestion techniques and the data stores that you currently have to understand that. We're going to look at operational application integration and business process integration data flows to understand that and how those work within your organization. We're going to look at analytical data flows and the capabilities that you have there. Maybe you've got data warehouse or multiple data warehouses. You may have one or more data lakes. You could have lake houses, feature stores, graph databases. We want to understand that. What have you got out there? And, does it, work together or is it siloed? And I think for most of my clients, at least, we still have a siloed setup there. We're going to look at data integration data flows. I want to be able to look at all the tools that you currently have. How are they helping you? Are they not? Is there too much complexity there? Are you missing technologies? We want to know all of that within your existing architecture. And what about unstructured data? How are you managing on that? And how are we governing all of this across your distributed data estates that you may currently have? And obviously, how well does this current existing architecture meet your existing business needs? Having discussed all of that and assessed your existing architecture, we then want to look at, well, what are the technology options for a new, more modern data architecture beyond what you currently have? So there we're going to be looking at, things like architecture options for operational processing, things like data integration hubs and message buses, and now, of course, the new MCP servers for agentic applications and agentic workflows with AI. We'll be looking at architecture options that you currently have for processing analytical workloads. There are so many of them out there. Do you use a data lake? Is it a cloud data warehouse? Should you go for a medallion approach on a lake house? Is there a logical data warehouse option? Should you do data fabric and data mesh? And what about customer data platforms? How does that fit into all of this? We're going to be looking at is there any way to bring those two worlds closer and closer together? Operational and analytical processing and brand new changes that have been happening there to make it possible. We're going to be looking at new options for analytical data architecture like open tables, such as Apache Iceberg and Delta Lake, that have really gotten a lot of attention of late, and how you can get rid of the silos that you currently have, perhaps in your analytical environment, and get to a more integrated, multi-purpose analytical data architecture. We'll look at the pros and cons of different technologies like data fabric versus modern data stack. And then we're going to look at considerations for design, things like how do you get a common approach to application integration? How do you be able to get continuous change data capture, be able to get shareable metadata across multiple tools, modernize your warehouse, look at where data modeling fits in, and look at the whole massive change around data engineering, moving, excuse me, from populating individual systems to building data products and sharing and reusing those around the enterprise. And where does data modeling fit in with that? We'll also look at what's the requirements for a future data architecture. How do you, set this up? What do you need to have in place in order to deliver for your business? Things like integrated data governance, integrated analytics, reusable shared data products with data contracts, things like governed data ingestion, and being able to automate and accelerate development using AI. We're going to be looking also at designing, sort of innovative new architecture and what the key capabilities that you need to have in place in order to deliver on your business strategy. We'll look at the importance of a data concept model and also being able to design for operational processing, analytical processing, and knowledge management. And how do you tie those two worlds together to deliver value for your organization? How do you merge those analytical silos and simplify that data architecture to be able to get data insights available quicker, leverage predictions, and of course, leverage generative AI to deliver value in our enterprise. And then finally, how do you get started with all of this? What order do you do it in? What's the action plan going to look like? And how do you minimize the impact on your business while you're modernizing? So if you've got time, 2 days to join me on modern data architecture with technology transfer, it would be great to see you on this class. Thanks a lot.